been surprised to hear, I think all but one of the maybe half dozen voices I've heard on the question, should there be conditions on U.S. aid to Israel? People in governmental positions. All but one said there should be no conditions to it. Israel's an ally. That's not how allies treat allies. I don't understand how they can talk that way. To not give conditions means that the one who's receiving the support is able to control the one that's giving it. I mean, if we tie ourselves to Israel, and I'm glad that we do, then we are affected too by the choices that Israel makes. That's certainly the case in this Gaza situation. I have all my life been very strongly pro-Israel in the sense of in favor of their thriving and surviving as a Jewish state in that part of the world. But I am very much opposed to this Netanyahu government. Do not trust them at all to be making the right decisions. Even for Israel, it has already been demonstrated quite clearly that Netanyahu is a person who will sacrifice the interests of the country for his own selfish interest. That's what is proved by how he brought the extremists into his cabinet, into his government, into his coalition, because that was what was required to get him into power, though it was contrary to the interests of Israel that people like this be wielding power. He has been said that as soon as this war is over, he's going to be out of there. And it's been noted that gives him an incentive to keep the war with Gaza going. So I don't know whether the Israelis are making right choices. It's never been clear to me what they can accomplish and at what cost. And I don't know, but I don't trust if Netanyahu has an incentive to keep the war going, that he's going to necessarily do what's in the interest of Israel, let alone the United States. So, in general, I think if you give aid to a country that needs that aid, have to be a blank check. But in particular, in this situation, where we have good reason to believe that the Biden administration has had real frustrations with the choices that the Israelis have been making. I mean, Biden's attempts to influence the Israelis have been fruitful, I think. But if we are to believe the reports, there's a fair distance between what the Israelis are doing with respect to pressing the war and safeguarding the Palestinian civilians, and doing other things to move toward a two-state solution. They've spoken about the problem of the settlers persecuting the Palestinians on the West Bank. The Israelis haven't done anything about it that I know of. They've talked about the importance of taking measures to increase the to move toward some eventual two-state solution, which is the only path toward peace, the Americans say. But Netanyahu can't keep his coalition together if he does anything like that. Interest in strengthening any kind of Palestinian interlocutor whether it be the Palestinian Authority or somebody that they've been keeping in jail for a long time, who might be their Nelson Mandela, who knows? But they're not doing anything in those directions. And that's what American interests um, would dictate. We are getting smeared by the same brush that is smearing the Israelis. A lot of that is unfair, but we have no reason to assume that that the Israelis are doing everything that they should be doing to mitigate how much the world is condemning them, which is also injurious to the people who are providing them with the protection of a superpower. So that's what I mean about it's more appropriate for the superpower to have an influence to dictate, or to some extent dictate, to the lesser power who needs the help, than vice versa. I mean, if you don't attach conditions to the aid, what is the leverage to get this Netanyahu extreme government that shouldn't be trusted to behave in ways that American interests require? It's not just the Israeli interests that we should be concerned with, but with our own interests as a nation too. What's inappropriate about that? Especially in this situation where we have no reason to believe that the government that's making this decision is actually acting in the best interest of Israel as a nation. And that's something else that the Biden people have sort of implied, that it's not that the Netanyahu regime is making decisions that they know are bad for Israel, but in any event, that the situation has shown itself to be one where movement in the direction toward a less conflictual destination is clearly required for Israel's sake, and as well as for the Palestinians. And you don't need to have it be all or nothing. And besides cutting off aid and giving them tons of aid as a blank check, there are all kinds of gradations. Yeah, we'll help you to this extent, but if you want us to help you to that extent, you got to do some things that we think are better for you, but are at least necessary to protect our interests as well. So I don't understand why that idea that we should give them a blank check would be put forward by smart people like Congressman Daniel Goldman and some, I think, I'm not sure, maybe Kirby over at the Pentagon, but I've heard it a few times and it seems to me wrong-headed. We don't need to give a blank check. They're the ones that need the help. And if there's got to be one person pushed in a direction more than they want to go, it shouldn't be the one that doesn't need the help. Thank you.